Hey there, it's Bob with Olive Branch Aquaponics. Hey, I've come down to visit an old friend, Sean, this weekend, and see his setup down here. He's kind of set up off grid a little bit and self-sustainability and all. And it's his place is never-ending farms, and he's kind of the same boat with me. We've got plenty of things going and things to work on, and we're letting our greenhouse kind of go down and get in some bad shape. And I'll come down and take a look at his to see what we can do to help get things up and going again. And mine looks just like his right now. But it's that time of year that we're thinking about getting going and what we can do to get kind of clean up. We're going to walk in here and take a look at what he's got and kind of get some ideas on how to clean up and get reestablished and going again. You know, winter time, we kind of slack and let things go down, but right around the corner, we know it's going to be time to get going again and get the planting and all. So we're going to go in there.
Yeah, you guys know how this is. I mean, my projects are just a mess like everybody else's. This is pretty well how the whole Mountain Wizard channel has been. And I might as well just show you what the mess is, because this is the norm. If you're you don't have a mess and you're telling me my place is a mess because you've got nothing going on in your life, or you know exactly what I've got going on, and, and you're dealing with the same thing.
When you got a...
Bob and I have known each other for a long time. This is how things go.
Yeah, we all pretty much started together in the beginning here. But when you got the whole sustainable living going on, it's not just about the greenhouse. There's plenty of other things. And there's times that we tend to let this go, and I've done the same thing. I've let mine go right now, and got to get it back up and going. And but that's one thing I've learned is, if you got this, everyone deals with this. Yeah. But a lot of people,
we all love how it looks in Better Home and Gardens, but it's not reality.
No, not reality.
So
you're fixing to see reality. Yeah. But give us a few weeks and we'll take a look at it again. You'll see what the possibilities are. But let's
take a look in here.
The first thing I can notice, Sean, is it's turned into a storage room workshop, just like mine does in the winter time.
Yeah, this is how every winter turns into. This is a good spot where the pressure washer comes in here so it doesn't freeze and bust. I don't have to buy a new one in the spring. It's a good spot where I've got lights, and this is all running off of the solar system that we've got here. So we can piddle around, we can sit by the fire, we'll bring in some chairs, and we'll have a cup of tea.
We're actually outside, but in a warm environment.
It ends up turning into a hangout spot, but it also a project. I mean, I got a little welder working over there, so whatever needs to be done, this is a good spot out of the winter, or out of the weather rather, but still out in the sunlight.
Well, one good thing about aquaponics is once you get the good stuff in here, the bacteria on, get this thing going, even if it does go down, the life doesn't never go. Never leaves or changes. If anything, it just gets stronger and better, just like this. Look at this bed right here. It don't look good right now. It hasn't been maintained and managed and all, but it's still got the life in here. And I'm telling you, the bacteria in here right now is richer than ever. So all we need to do is a little cleanup, give it a little attention in here and get things going, and man, this thing will turn back into a Garden of Eden in a matter of weeks.
So I was telling you, I'd let this kind of die off trying to get some of these white flies under control. They have been a nuisance, and I have tried so much stuff from Arbico and neem oil and everything, the parasitic wasp and then the green lacewing, trying to get these things killed off. And so that has led to me just letting some of this go with the temperature and not maintaining the temperature in here, trying to get them killed back. And that's why the fig tree is looking a little bleak.
Well, you know, when you got to keep ahead of that stuff. We keep the lace wings in here, and there are other things, the predator bugs and all in here to keep that under control. But we're creating such a perfect environment for them bugs in here. They're hard to keep under control. If you don't stay one step ahead, you will get behind.
Yep.
And when you do get behind, you do got to take drastic measures. But that is a good thing, to let things tone down and let temperatures cool down in here to get them under control.
Yeah.
But the key to the bugs is to stay one step ahead of them, and that's a constant. a constant deal.
It seems like it's a never-ending battle.
It's a
love-hate relationship. I'm glad that they're here, and I know that there's parts of it that are beneficial. But Jiminy Cricket, if they don't,
but when you produce a perfect environment for them, you can't blame them. No.
So, what do you feel like about the media here? Is it getting to where it's root bound, or am I getting to where I've just got too many solids in here? Am I not doing a good job separating those? Or
well, a lot of this moisture on top and this water on top is the sunlight and the algae growing. That's kind of stopping things up. But also, there's a lot of waste in there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's not filtered perfect, which I don't think there's no system out there that's going to perfectly filter. My experience is it takes, the way I filter and the things I run, I could get by 10 years before I really had to do anything.
Okay, so I'm at about 4 right now.
Well, and what are you using to filter? Have you got a filter set up, or you just run water straight in here?
Just running water straight in here.
I tried that without a filter, doing that same thing, and I didn't tend to make it 2 or 3 years before I had to clean my gravel. Now,
so I could eliminate a lot of that by having like this cone tank plumbed in.
Hook your system up to that and make a swirl filter out of that. That'll keep all those solids. You still ain't gonna get all the solids out. You're still gonna have something to deal with, but you'll get biggest percentage.
Do you remember back in the day when you and I first did this? We had a separator. It was it was a buffing pad off of one of the floor buffers.
In a
is
bucket,
what we used. Yeah,
in a bucket, and we run the water underneath it. And come up and spilt out. And
is that still a good biological filter for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I need to get.
That's one of the do-it-yourself things, but it works good, and everything else is pretty much based on that same principle.
Okay.
But yeah, that works good. And then another thing you can do too, you can just put a pad down right here and catch it coming in, and wash that pad off every day.
Okay.
That's probably going to be the simplest thing to do.
Okay.
But the better you can filter it, the better this is.
Okay. And we're not trying to filter out really anything, but we're trying to keep the solids from making their way all the way through. It's okay if they dissolve.
It's the flow of the water flowing through this. We want the water to come in and out and through this gravel as quickly as possible.
So it's not that we're trying to eliminate the fish waste. We just don't want the fish waste in the bed here. We're just trying to keep it separate. The fish waste is still what's feeding our plants. We're just trying to separate where we can not have to revamp these beds. And clean them all out.
No, that's full of bacteria right now. You can plant that right there, and it will grow like crazy.
Yeah.
We just need that water flow coming through here and back to the fish rapidly, not dammed up and all.
Right.
That's what happens here is that water is set up there, and it creates that algae. But we also need to drop that water level down below that gravel.
Okay.
I like keeping my water level 2 inches below my gravel.
I think here's our standpipe here.
Yeah.
So we're about there, but the problem is right now is that the bed's just not flowing through.
Yeah, it needs to be washed out.
And so what's the best way to clean those out? Like, are we talking pull out all this gravel and rinse it off, or
rinse it off?
Okay,
that's the best way to do it.
Okay,
and it's not a fun way.
Yeah,
it's nasty.
Yeah,
that's really the only way you can do it.
Okay,
I've had to do it. Now, if you can
just do a bed every time.
If you got a source and got plenty of gravel, you can just put this to the side, put new gravel in here, let that dry out, and then kind of shake it, and it cleans off itself a lot.
Okay.
But that stuff's expensive, hard to get too. So
so I might set up a little screen system where maybe I got a screen over one half of this, and I can shovel it up on there with some hardware cloth on the bottom of that as the screen, rinse it off, and flip it in. And it's a little bit of work to get things back into reality.
Get it back in there.
Okay.
Now you shut that water off too and fill it full of worms and let the worms eat a lot of that, but the worms will produce.
I'm surprised you didn't find any in just that little bit you were digging around in there, because them red wigglers are all through here.
Well, once you get them in here, they
right there.
They are
right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yep. And so they are. Cool, I mean, they've been in here for a while, and those are
they're big,
good size. Yeah.
They're bigger than mine.
There was more of them in there. So yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, this bed's, man, you could grow anything in here right now.
It's just getting this cleaned up where we can get some water flow going through there.
Well, here's something that I haven't talked about a lot yet, but I will be talking a lot of it this year in my seminars and all. One thing I've learned is what makes this stuff grow so much faster. Mm-hmm. They say it grows 4 times faster and 4 times closer. And I know it's got a lot to do with the nutrient-rich water and coming to it. There's no labor for the plants or whatever. But one of the things that I've figured out that I've cracked the code on is to do with pressure. When we fill these beds up, a bed about this size right here, when we fill it up to this height right here, you're adding about 50 gallon of water in here.
Okay.
That 50 gallon of water will weigh approximately 300 something pounds.
Yeah.
So that pressure on those roots are putting pressure on it.
Okay.
Well, when we drain this with this mechanism right here, it don't just pour in and pour out. This sucks it out. So it pulls it out with a force. So when it's pulling out, you can hear it going. What that does is that pulls air down into the root system.
Okay.
Well, what's actually happening there is when you fill that up with water, you're putting that pressure on there, you're raising the barometric pressure on those roots. When you flush that out quickly like that and it pulls down there, you're lowering the pressure on those roots. And by that filling up and going down like it right there, that barometric pressure of that root zone is doing this.
Okay.
Just wavering up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, NASA has proved that if you can change that barometric pressure at the root zone and make it waver like that just a little, it will cause the root of the plant to grow 4 times faster.
Okay.
Well, if that root's growing 4 times faster, everything above's growing 4 times faster.
Okay.
And because they're talking about how you can grow 4 times closer also, the reason is you take a tomato plant or a big old plant in here, and usually outside on the ground, they have a root system the size of the bush itself.
Right, right. Typically you flip it over and it's
in
about
here,
the same.
we only got a root system yay big. And the reason is because it grows 4 times faster, but it doesn't have to grow as big.
It's not trying to search for the nutrients.
It's not searching for nutrients coming to it. So if you take and consider that plant's maturing 4 times faster than normal.
Okay.
And what I've discovered with that is like with these big trees or fruit trees, they got to be 3 years mature before they'll produce.
Yep.
And what's happening is in this aquaponic system, they're maturing 4 times faster. So I'm finding about putting lemon trees in here.
Okay.
And in 8 months, I've got a pretty good sized tree with blooms on it, and already getting lemons on it in 8 months. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Well, it goes back to that what I'm talking about. It's maturing 4 times faster in the system. That's why it grows 4 times faster and all. And that's pretty amazing, though.
Yeah.
But in here, you've got everything's still running.
Yeah. So my tanks, I don't have much for fish in them. I've got the OG goldfish that have started the system a few years ago that have made it. And that's pretty well all I got. So I'm at the point right now where I need to pretty well restart the system. So get with you and get fish ordered and get the quantity. I'm running probably 800 gallons of water is probably a good, these tanks are a little lower than I like them at the moment. So I got about 800 gallons of water, 200 in each tank. I need to figure out what my stock ratio needs to be for the fish and get that.
Well, first of all, if you got 800 here with the 4 beds over here, you're running about 200 gallon of water over here.
Okay.
So you're using 200 gallon of water of this at a time.
Okay.
So you got plenty of room for fish.
Okay.
So if you stock these heavily, you're going to be doing a lot of heavy planting over here.
That'd be a good problem to have.
Yeah, that'd be a good problem to have. Produce a lot of fruit and all. You'll have this whole thing in here covered with tomatoes and what have you. So you got a good quality of water here. Your ratio for gallons versus growing beds over here is plenty.
Okay.
So you have plenty of growing room. So you could actually grow fish and harvest them to eat a little more often than what most people can because of the room you got. Because if you overload this too much, you'll be overloading over here.
Right.
You're going to have to keep up over here.
So what fish are you, what's the ideal fish now? Things have changed a little bit over the last 10 years when I started this.
Well, it's all your purpose. If you're doing this to produce food for yourself,
right,
you're going to want the protein. So you're going to want to go with the fish that we eat.
Okay.
And I've been using perch lately, hybrid perch.
I like perch.
They take a while to feed out.
Yeah.
I've done some bass in them. I've done catfish. I don't recommend catfish.
Okay.
Catfish in a tight area have too much problems.
Okay.
I don't even try them.
I'm not a huge fan of the bottom feeders.
Well,
Anyways. I'd rather stick with a crappie or something.
I've tried it. I've tried shrimp and all. It ain't enough to produce enough. So this is the perch, tilapia, and the goldfish and koi. That's the three main fish.
Okay.
If you don't want to eat the fish, koi is actually better than anything else as far as nutrients go.
That's what, like, I've kept the goldfish around just because it's, I mean, now they're 6-8 inches long, and it's cool to be able to bring the kids in here, and and we got kids visiting and stuff like that, and they can feed the fish, and the goldfish are vibrant, and they're there, and they're always there,
and they're a lot easier to take care of too.
Yeah. Shoot, the water can freeze over, and the goldfish.
Right, you can make a lot of mistakes with them; they still live.
Yeah.
But if it's about food, then you want to do tilapia, because tilapia can grow out. To get 2 4-ounce fillets off a tilapia, you need a 2-pound fish.
Okay.
2-pound tilapia can be grown out in just a few weeks.
Okay.
In a few months, you can have a harvest. So you can get a good harvest every year with the 4-ounce fillet by using tilapia.
All right.
Now perch, it's going to take 1.5 years to get them things up.
Yeah, I've noticed that they take quite a bit longer.
Yeah, it takes a lot more time.
Okay.
So it really depends on what, a lot of people want to do this as a hobby, and I've even used guppies.
Yeah.
I've used guppies that you buy at the pet store and all.
Okay.
Actually, we was using them because they multiply so fast. We use them for feeding our chickens and stuff.
Right on.
It's good protein for your chickens and even the other fish. But if you want to do it for food, I recommend tilapia.
Okay.
But you got to keep them warm. They're a little bit more.
And that can be a problem. Now we are hooked up to the solar, so running an electric water heater is not the end of the world. I just need to get it plumbed in and get it operational.
But that heat and the water is our biggest energy expense out there too.
Yep.
So we got to consider that. But I highly recommend heating your water.
Okay.
And heating the water, you're changing the whole dynamics in here.
What temperature are you shooting for?
Around 70 degrees, 72 degrees.
Which that'll just help regulate temperature in here as well.
Well, that's going to regulate your temperature in here. It's going to take less energy to heat the greenhouse. But it keeps your root zone at a certain temperature, which means your bacteria is thriving and growing and reproducing. Your worms are reproducing. The plants, it can be 35 degrees in here. Your plants, if the root zone is at 70 degrees, the plants are producing as if it's 70 degrees outside.
Well, let's touch on that for a minute. Okay, so I love the idea of having the heated water. We know that's good for the plants. We've run those tests in the past. Are you running a closed loop system to heat this water, or are you running this dirty water through a water
both heater? I've been doing both now. In the beginning, I was running it through my dirty water. I've set a couple up here recently. The one down here in Hugo we just done. It's on a closed loop.
So are you running like PEX line inside the tank?
No, I'm running out of the tank into a filter and then back through my heater and back into the tank itself. It bypasses everything else. It's just going through a separate pump. You'll have to run 2 pumps to do this. But it's run through a separate pump into a filter and then back through my heater and then back into my tanks. And that's working pretty good. And now for the past few years, I've just been running it straight through my system into
the heater,
my heater to my beds.
I'm going to get with you on that after, and we'll get together a plan on getting something like that set up, because I think that would make a world of a difference.
Well, I mean, you're heating it with your
and it's if I'm keeping the fireplace going, that certainly helps.
Can you heat the water with it, or you just keep it at a more even temperature?
I'd say that you're kind of helping maintain the temperature, because with this system, the wood stove is so close to the tank that you're heating the tank itself just off of radiant heat. And then we've also got the thermal siphoning effect working with the copper coil around the heat.
You see that?
And I mean, it does work. It will put out steam. It'll get warm, but I do not want to mislead. That is not the most efficient way to
that's heat. Just like a lot of people ask me about what's that called underground, the thermal? Geothermal. A lot of people think you can heat the greenhouse with that. That's not true. I haven't been able to. All that does is help save on energy to help it. So it'll keep it to a certain
because now you only got to heat from 50 to 70 or whatever these numbers are.
Instead of 20 to 70, you're
the Earth's
50 to 70 and all. And so basically this would be the same thing. It just would help you save energy.
And so that will work if we're keeping the fireplace going. But I mean, This year, last year I kept the fireplace going. I mean, just hot, just kept it going. This year, with the pest problems and just other things I've had going on in my life, I have not. You know, I was raising chickens in here, but I was trying to harden them off to get outside for the winter, and so I wasn't doing much of the heat. So I think an electric option for the heat will be best for me because of having the solar system right here. It doesn't cost me anything to run this system, and then I can regulate some with the wood stove if I need.
Well, that's on the heating. Now, you mentioned the chickens.
Yeah.
That's something I get asked a lot over in Africa.
Yep.
We do this, and I've seen it. And
that's where I got the idea from.
Well, they use rabbits and all to and chickens, but mostly rabbits and all. But I have a lot of people ask me that here. I have not done that here yet. Okay. But you talk about you put the chickens up here.
Yeah, so I had some pens built, and I just had it where I was setting them over top of this open area. Now you get a little bit of spillover with their waste. But the thing is the chickens were spilling their feed, especially the quail. And I was just making it to where their spilled feed and their droppings were going into the tank, and the fish could eat the food. So now instead of me just throwing this feed away, the chickens are not walking on it and defecating all over their feed. Now it's going into the fish tank. The fish can eat it.
Was the fish doing good whenever on
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a very minimal test. This was the first year that I tried it. I'm down heavily on my fish numbers, but I can tell you that I didn't lose any fish due to it.
Okay, did you do any water tests on ammonia?
No, I did not.
We need to do it.
Yeah.
I'm interested to find out how that affects our ammonia into this, which I'm sure adds a lot to that.
Yeah.
Right,
and I got this idea because of, unfortunately, working on cattle ranches and stuff, and they are mixing chicken waste and litter with the feed, and they're feeding these cows that. And
I've seen cases where they feed it directly to the cows straight.
Yes.
And they do good on
it. It's not really what I want. That's why I buy my beef local and things are done different. But if I can feed this into the root system of the plants, I don't see where I'm losing anything. This is better and healthier.
This is self-sustainability too.
Right.
If it comes down to where we can't buy the food or feed or whatever, we got a way to feed to keep it into the loop.
Yeah. And so I'm all about just cutting down on the waste. It's like if I can grow fodder with this system and feed it to my chickens, and the waste and whatever fodder spills down into the fish and the fish eat it, and we're just keeping this as closed loop of a system. I don't know how much you've messed with the quail, but I'm in love with them. I'm about to the point where I want to get rid of every chicken and just raise quail.
Yeah, we've messed with quail a little bit, but they do make a mess. They
make a mess, but they are some hardy birds.
Yeah, they eat good too.
Yeah.
Now they have a lot of eggs.
Anyways, we'll get off on a rant, but so that the chickens over top of these pens, I think that's going to be something that I focus more on. I think it's something I want to have a couple pens over top of these.
Yeah, I think there's some research.
Unless it poses a problem, but I cannot see it being a problem.
Think so. I can see some research that need to be done right there.
Yeah, especially on some smaller systems, having some quail over top of them, no big deal.
Yeah, and I did use quail one time and done a research on the bugs, the pests.
Okay.
I had a cage that went over my bed. I put them in there.
Yep.
And they done good. But if I didn't keep up with them or kept them fed well and all, they did tend to eat my plants down.
Yep. Well,
but I had a bad case of bugs at that time, and they eat the bugs. It was roly-polies is what I was trying to get rid of.
Oh, yeah. Was that in the strawberry bed?
Yeah, strawberry bed.
Yep. I haven't had that problem in my strawberry bed yet, but I've been.
They say roly-polies won't eat your fruit; or they will devour your strawberry. Anyway, back to this. So really, all you need to do here to be up and going again is you need to hook up this filter, get some kind of filter going.
Yep.
Or put the pads over there if you want to for the time being. That'll catch any solids.
So my plan right now is this is my outlet pipe, and I was just going to bring it in to the side of my tank here and have it kind of shoot off at an angle where
make it swirl.
Yeah. And then do like those pad filters like we talked about, and have my outlet wherever the water level ends up being. My outlet for the water level being just above those filter pads. And that way I'm getting more or less clean water coming out. Give a location with this cone tank to have the solids a spot to be able to collect. And that way I can run a ball valve off of here into a 5-gallon bucket and be able to take that out to my raised garden beds. And
we've been doing research on that, and it's
okay.
There's some other things I can show you and teach you all that you can make some inputs put in that and have the best fertilizer in the world. We done research on it with the hayfield, and we were getting 2 inches more a month growth in the hayfield off this. And
we'll have to talk more about those numbers, the dosing numbers.
But we get that gravel cleaned back up, and you'll have so much bacteria in here right now. Now, you'll wash that gravel without city water, which I know you don't got city water.
We've been rainwater here for 7 years now.
If you got city water, you don't want to use it to wash your beds out because the chlorine will kill the bacteria and all.
Okay.
But washing this out with your water and all, that's so bacteria enriched now.
Yep.
It's like a seasoned.
Would it be advantageous to wash this back into this system if I have the filter set up? Just wash it and let it flow back into this, catch it with the filter, and that way we can separate it and take it to the garden instead of more or less dumping it out on the ground.
Yeah,
okay.
You can do that.
Because we've got the trough system here, which all goes out to the sump tank. So anything that we wash here into these beds will just get pumped back into the sump tank and back up
in there.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. That would work.
And I got valves on the bottom of each of these tanks. It's probably time to crack those and go tell them what kind of sediment we got on the bottom there.
It's going to have some. I can promise you that.
Yeah, it's probably time. And we're coming into the wet season now, where we can we've got a little bit of rainwater to be able to toy around with this stuff.
Rain season or snow season?
Yeah, no doubt.
Collected quite a bit off snow here.
11 inches of snow is what we had the other day.
Man, that's a big snow for here.
It was a real kicker when it slid off the solar panels there and just built up on the backside of the...
Oh, made a big old
snow dam back there. It covered all my work area. That's just kind of how it goes.
Well, a good long weekend out here, you'll be up and going.
Okay. All right.
It won't take long.
So I just...
before we get it done here, I like your starting.
Oh yeah, my little germination table I got going on there.
Got that heated?
Yep. So that is just there's a foam panel on the bottom, and this is just gutter heat tape. So that's just 1 inch foam, and then I took gutter heat tape and laid it back and forth in a zigzag, and just used these little Romex staples to help hold it in place, and covered that up with sand. And then I can set I can set 6 of those 10 by 20 trays on there. And everything is thermostatically controlled. And you talk about get seeds to pop quick.
Oh, I guarantee you, man.
I guarantee you, it'll do 50% quicker.
Yeah,
easily, and that's being conservative.
And probably get a lot better germination.
My germination's 90% or better. Yeah. Yep. You can set that, put a humidity domes on them suckers, and walk away. And by March, I've got more tomato plants in here than I know what to do with. I mean, the tomatoes and peppers, I'll have hundreds of them boxed up in here, and just I'm trying to give them away.
Yeah.
That is the way to go. The germination table was the best $20 I spent.
What do you think about this flower on this turmeric?
Oh, that was pretty.
That was one of the prettiest.
Look at the roots on the turmeric that are in there. I mean, they're massive.
Golly, coming up out of that bed.
Yep.
I let mine get froze. That made me sick. I had a basketball size turmeric.
Oh, Jiminy Cricket. I've been raising some of that in soil as well, and in just one of these mud trays, and I keep up with it. And it was doing good, but I broke off a piece, stuck it in there, and you can see that's doing way better.
So this is where it started, and this is the piece of it in aquaponics.
Yep, and it's in the aquaponics. It's easily 4 times the size of the root ball in there.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Aquaponics. I love
like when my sister was sick and I was dealing with all that, I was breaking off turmeric and ginger, which I grow in here as well, and was using that in teas and all that. Yep. But with the heat in here, the ginger and the turmeric do really well.
Very, very good. Yeah. You ever tried the blue turmeric?
No.
I got some of that going to the house. I can give you a piece of that.
Yep. And then this was all sweet potato vines. They've kind of froze over here lately. We've still got some greens, so they should do well. Where I can take some cuttings and get some of that started. This was my attempt at a dual root zone. with the strawberries, and I've got some garlic growing in here too.
What do you mean your attempt? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it worked.
This is one of my favorite ways of growing right here.
It's been neat. I actually, that's what those burlap bags are for. I want to redo this because I did it with a weed fabric, and the roots don't travel through it as well. So I'm going to redo it all with burlap and try to give that a way for them roots to get down into the water.
Well, I'm thinking about setting my big greenhouse up with aquaponics.
Yep.
All in these wicken beds.
Well, and like the bottom, 6 inches of this is still
still full of water.
It's still got media in there. It's just, and these strawberries are shucks. They're 4 years old or better.
Yeah, give them about another month, and you're gonna see some.
I just keep on taking clippings and moving them out to the garden.
Yeah, you got a pretty good patch right here. Well, my chives and onions in the greenhouse is doing good right now. But they love this kind of weather this time of year in here.
So the fish, are you pretty well just getting with the pond stockers, or where are you getting your perch and all from? Or where's the best place to get?
You pretty much your pond stockers.
Okay.
We got an incubator set up now where we're going to start raising our own tilapia and all.
Okay.
But yeah, I just go through the guys right here that stock pond stuff.
Okay.
I get the hybrid perch too because they get a little bit bigger. But
so with about 800 gallons of water here, how many pounds of perch would you put in something like that?
You need about I put about 10 pounds per unit.
Okay, so 10
10
per
20,
200.
You're 40, 50. Yeah, you need about 50 pounds.
Okay.
Is what I put in there.
I kind of like the idea of dealing with the perch just because of not having to maintain that water temperature.
Oh yeah, you don't have to. If it drops out, it's just like the other day. I stocked the system that we done, and they didn't pay attention to it for about a week. You know, got low on water, and the heater didn't heat, and the water got cool, and it killed all the tilapia.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a little problem like that, it could.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, with this being not unfortunately, but with this being on solar, I am still subject to the weather. So some days we just lose power.
The perch is a little more forgiving, but the tilapia is not. They can't take cool weather.
Yeah, I've lost a few of those.
But if you got perch or go fish, like all it's going to do is if it does get down, you're not going to lose your fish. It's just going to kind of stall everything from growing a little bit. But, but it's not the end of the world. But
so in a little bit of review here, so we're gonna add about 10 pounds of fish per 200 gallons of water that we got for the tanks that we want to use. We'll probably use 3 of the 4. We're gonna look into doing a water heater and getting our water temperature up to about 70 degrees. And then if we maintain anything with solar, we got a solar water heater is why I say that. And with the wood stove, that's just a bonus.
Yeah.
We're going to try and get our water level up a little bit higher so that we got some higher pressure. You know, if we're at a foot of water level right now above this, we're only running about 0.4 psi. So it's, you get 0.4 psi for 1 foot of head pressure. Yeah. So we're going to get that fixed. We're going to get the gravity filter, the cone filter worked into this system where we can separate some of these solids.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to start with one bed at a time, getting these beds cleaned out and getting some of the solids rinsed out of them and push them back.
Just want to get the water flow flowing as good as possible.
Which that'll help the airflow getting down to those roots.
Yeah, that'll help getting the oxygen in there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, this is pretty well what you do now, right? I mean, you go around and
every day now.
Either fix other people's screw-ups or put in new ones.
I'm getting a lot
of phone calls. Not new screw-ups, but new systems.
I'm getting a lot of phone calls right now from other systems that's been put in. Like, hey, we don't understand. We can't figure this out. We can't get it going. Can you come and get me going? And I'm confident now in what I'm doing and been there enough and done enough that I know what it takes to get these going, what will work, what won't work.
Right. And y'all are working with a university still some too?
Yeah. We're still working with Langston University.
Okay.
So got some things going with them. the tribes, the Indian tribes, they're really getting into this. And we're,
Which tribes have you got?
the Choctaws.
Okay.
We got a big project going with the Choctaws right now.
Okay.
And then we got the Creeks that we're doing a lot with.
And this is all in Oklahoma.
It's all in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then we're talking to the Seminoles.
Okay.
I think something's going to take place there pretty soon. And I've done a little bit with the Cherokees, but the Choctaws and the Creeks, pretty heavily involved with them right now.
Okay.
Pretty
Good deal.
pleased with what we got going.
And then are they setting this up where this will be like a school program, or what's their end goal for this?
Well, the Choctaws has got to set up. There's really set up for teaching and education.
Okay.
And eventually, they're wanting to have a big enough setup, produce enough vegetables to deliver with their beef program and their pecan program.
Excellent. Right
and
on.
they want to move into vegetables with it also.
Okay.
The Creeks are putting it in their citizens' backyards, but hoping to eventually have a community co-op
Okay.
amongst ourselves.
Are they doing that for like the elders or
for
what?
the elders?
Okay.
Well, no, it's not just elders. They're doing it for any citizens. You got to meet some requirements.
Okay.
Be capable of taking care of it and all to get it. So
Okay.
it's just kind of they're dipping their toe into the water to see how this is going to work.
Right. Right. No pun intended
way it's
there.
going, I think they're going to.
Okay.
I think they're going to be pleased in it. Everyone's looking for a way to produce food.
Yeah.
For security.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of, I mean, that's been my drive here for years, and that's what led me to be where I'm at the end of a dead end road and left alone, more or less.
Well, this is for me for a long time, starting out as a hobby and then teaching it and preaching it. And I'm like you, I've got so many irons in the fire. I've got it. But here's the deal. If things ever go down and we don't have a grocery store to depend on,
Yeah.
or things go stale, or, there's a lot of things
Yeah,
that
it's
can
not
happen.
that we don't go to the store. It's but we need to get away from. We need to have a little bit of self-reliance where we can
produce our
maneuver
own,
some things
we
around.
just have security to feed ourselves. If all that's gone someday, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Well, so,
shucks. I mean, look at all these fires going right now. I mean, think of all the, there's orchards and vineyards that are burning, and it's not just California. I mean, there's anywhere is subject to any of the hurricanes back there in Helene and the Carolinas. I mean, this.
mhm.
So the food system is susceptible to there being a problem. I mean, I think they're killing off a lot of birds right now due to the bird
Yeah,
flu.
they are.
So the
eggs
more
are get close to $10 a dozen now.
the more we can just anything you can do for yourself, I think we're moving in the right direction. What's the best way for people to reach out to you if they're looking to get some guidance?
Olive Branch Aquaponics.com.
Okay.
They go in there and follow us on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook's really the best way to keep up with us and follow us and all.
And like, I don't I don't do a lot of interviews on this channel, or really maybe this is the first one on the channel, but I've known Bob now for over a decade. I'm not going to bring somebody up here that I don't put full faith and trust in. If Bob's going to tell you he's going to do something, it's going to be done, even if it's to his own detriment. A handshake still means something with the man, and that is the kind of people that I like doing business with. And this it didn't all start out as business, but it kind of evolved over the years to where we are now. But Bob's a trustworthy guy. If you're looking for somebody to help you get set up with a greenhouse, even if it's not just an aquaponic system, I mean, you all help set up greenhouses themselves.
Yeah, I'm here for information too. We offer services and all, turnkey job and all, but I'm here to give you my opinion and my advice and share with you what I've learned. And all.
Yeah.
If you want something you want to do yourself, you're not sure, you need a coach. I mean,
this whole greenhouse came from this. This is a Bob operation right here. I did some changes and I kind of made it to match my house and stuff like that. But this frame, the fans, the louvers, the doors, like this was all communication with Bob and him helping me size the CFM on my fans to what I need for this greenhouse and things like that. And yeah, sure, there are things will change, but this was also 5 years ago that we set this up.
Yeah.
And then you and I started doing this 10 years ago now.
Oh, longer than
Or
that.
it might be 11 years.
11, let's say 12.
Oh, 2012, Jiminy
12,
Cricket.
that's 8, 9, 10, 12 years, dude.
Okay. Well, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this now for a little while. I kind of went on in my career more or less, and Bob picked up the pace and just continued on. So now I'm back like, okay, what have you learned over the last several years? And let's help me get my system kind of back under control again.
Well, I'll tell you what, at my house, my farm, the aquaponics has become the heart of my homestead.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm producing, now I can produce now. I'm not producing right at the moment, but I can. Just like right now, we're talking about, we're not producing right now, but the time comes, you got it.
Right.
Start producing, but we produce our chicken feed, rabbit feed, goat feed, our fertilizers for the hay fields, all that comes out of our aquaponics.
Yeah, well, let's talk for a second. Your system isn't just up and blooming right now because it's not because you're just sitting on the couch bored. You've got a couple projects going on across the country right now, right?
I'm taking care of everyone else's projects.
Yeah,
right
that's how
yeah,
that goes.
I'm in Minnesota, St. Louis, Texas, Southern Oklahoma.
Yeah, so it's not like you're sitting on the
now.
couch and just
That's
not
right.
out there taking care of your
Yeah.
stuff. You've got getting everybody else's system. I've been up to yours when you've had classes and stuff where there's 50 people walking around the place touring your system. And
We're going to do a lot of classes this year too.
Yeah.
We're posted on all, and I'm going to do some.
what's your next? You've got an expo or something coming up, don't you?
Yeah, Okie Homestead.
Okay. Y'all can look up the dates for that.
I can't
Okie
remember the dates
Homestead.
off the top of my head. I think it's in April. I think sometime in April.
Okay.
Look it up. Go on the internet and look up Okie Homestead.
Okay.
And I'll be speaking there.
I'm going to take some of this advice and see what we can do to get this system kind of back on the right track again, and see where we can pick it up and go. Especially we're coming into spring now. It's the 25th of January right now when we're filming this. So I'm going to make some changes, get the water temperature up, see if we can get some of these solids separated out, and I'll do some of that in video format for y'all to see, and we'll take a look at this again in a couple months and see where we're at.
You'll see a big change.
Start running some tests. You got anything else to add?
I don't think so at the moment. Maybe we can come back down here in a few weeks and help you see where you're at. And
okay. Yeah.
another picture of them.
Start chasing after some fish and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you stayed through the whole channel, I appreciate it, or the whole video rather. If you got any comments, leave them down below, and I will certainly get them over to Bob and his team if you need any input there. OliveBranchAquaponics.com.
Olive Branch Aquaponics
is the best way to reach out to them. There should be an email format and maybe a phone number on there that you can get in touch with them. And we'll just look forward to trying getting us all on a self-sustainable path. Whatever that, and it looks different for everybody. So, and
it is different for everybody.
Don't get hemmed up on what it looks like in a magazine because that's not reality most of the time. So I think if that's it, then we'll wrap it up here, and we'll try and take another shot at this here in a month or two and see where we got things going from there. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. And Mountain Wizard and Olive Branch Aquaponics, got Bob Ryder here signing out. We'll catch up with y'all next time. Thanks.
Thank you.